Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another Real Comic Heroes podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And we are via Skype this time.
Ooh. It's over the internet.
The world of technology is at our fingertips.
Yep. Sit here in my underpants, not be judged by Travis.
Hey, me too.
Oh, sweet. Just so everyone knows we don't have the video aspect down. Otherwise, that'd be a little weird.
Yeah, audio only, folks, for this underwear edition of Real Comic Heroes.
Hey, that's what superheroes wear.
That's right. I just assume our listeners listen in their underpants as well, so...
Yeah, more comfortable.
Yeah.
Those confining pants. All because society says we have to wear them. Shit.
It ends now.
Yeah. We're taking a stand. And we're standing comfortably in our underwear.
That's right.
All
right.
So enough with underpants talk. Let's do some serious business.
That's right.
Not a serious movie, but serious.
Yeah, you know.
So we watched another Bond movie.
That's right. Which one did we watch this time?
Diamonds Are Forever.
Nice. And
the triumphant return of Sean Connery.
Was it triumphant?
No, that was sarcastic. He looked old, kind of out of shape.
Yeah, and just bored. I would say he looked, and we'll get into it, but he came back for the money, so it was kind of
He got big bucks.
Yeah, I think. What's that?
For the 70s.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, so... Diamonds Are Forever. It took a while to find out what they were actually doing with the diamonds.
Yeah, we can do the summary real quick, and then we can just kind of talk about all that, right?
Okay.
I just took it straight from IMDb, and it's pretty simple. But a diamond smuggling investigation leads James Bond to Las Vegas, where he uncovers an evil plot involving a rich business tycoon.
Wow.
It doesn't say anything about Blofeld or,
I guess
any of that.
It's like one of those non-spoiler alert synopses.
I guess so. It's just a weird movie. About 3/4 of the way through, I realize everything in this movie is a shell game.
Oh, yeah.
It's, who's the real Blofeld? Where are the real diamonds? You got Bond impersonating or kind of pretending to be many different people, so it's just a constant, up in the air of what's the point,
Yeah.
So.
Although, I give it credit, Bond was actually doing spy work.
Yes, I did note that a couple of times, so that's nice that...
He wasn't going around saying, hey, everybody, I'm James Bond.
That's true. He... only once in the movie introduces himself as Bond, and that's in the intro. So that's a good point, that, he's... Yeah.
So I've been griping on him for all these movies, and he finally did it, but I still didn't like it.
It made a bunch of money. It
broke.
They, after, why am I blanking on the last one? On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it didn't make a ton of money, so the studio was really hoping for a big blockbuster hit with this one. So that was part of why they hired American writers and set the story predominantly in America, because they really wanted to draw in the U.S. audiences. So that's kind of why the movie took the shape it took. So
yeah, I kind of thought there'd be a bigger deal with like Vegas and Bond. They seem like they'd be perfect together.
Kind of, but seeing Bond in an American Vegas casino just felt dirty,
It was weird.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also because it's old Vegas, and old Vegas is kind of a little more seedy and...
Yeah, it's got that...
mafia feel.
Right. And that was one of the things I read in trivia, why they hired American writers, because there was a quote, someone saying that, British writers tend to do American gangsters really poorly, so,
I don't know. I don't think these guys did too well with these.
Yeah.
so-called mafia guys.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you want to start with the opening, the cold open and everything, like normal? And
yeah, it's basically kind of telling us that Bond's sort of been out on a crusade to get Blofeld.
Yeah, like just one contact after another, or one shakedown of, he starts in, I think it's Japan. He's roughing up a guy, who gives him, just says Cairo, and then he goes to Cairo and...
The guy says, hit me.
Yeah, hit me. Yeah. And then, that guy tells him to go see Marie, so he goes to see Marie, and we get a really half-assed Bond introduction. He just walks up and said,
"My name is Bond. James Bond."
I'm Bond, James Bond, and it just, kind of weak.
He looks so old.
Yes.
I think he looks better later on in life than he did in that movie.
Completely. And this would have been, let's see, he started, what did we determine? He was 32 or 33 in 63, 62, 63. So this is...
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
Yeah, early 40s.
Early mid-40s, yeah.
Yeah.
But he looks a lot older than that.
Yeah. It's kind of it's weird seeing the brutality that Connery has in this one. He rips off the woman's bikini and strangles her with it.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of see it, because you're supposed to remember that his wife was just murdered.
Yeah, this is supposed to be him out for revenge on Blofeld, and this is kind of the only time in the movie that you get that sense, and
yeah,
I don't know if it's just Connery as Bond refusing to, acknowledge that there was another Bond, before this movie. Like,
well, they kind of acknowledge it later with M.
Yeah.
Seems like we did just fine.
Right.
While you were out on holiday or whatever.
Yeah, I just don't get a big sense from Connery that he's playing it like, I'm out for revenge for the death of Tracy. It didn't translate for me. That I would believe if Connery said, well, I'm not going to acknowledge those movies, because it wasn't me, that kind of thing. Yeah. But he sells that he's out for Blofeld, but it doesn't translate to me of why, other than that he's a bad guy and he just wants to take him out,
Yeah. And,
but
when they get to the whole Blofeld changing his face,
yeah,
I got really confused, and it was kind of funny because it goes back to how did Bond and Blofeld not recognize each other?
Right.
Which was kind of funny.
Yeah, I do like that. That we specifically see that Blofeld is going through the process of plastic surgery and having duplicates of himself, made to look like him, that kind of thing. And I would have liked if when they're panning across the various stages of the plastic surgery, I think it would have been smart to have the first mold kind of look like Telly Savalas and have it transition to Charles Gray.
Yeah.
That way you get the, no mistake that he has changed his, appearance. So.
Yeah, I liked when the one guy was in the, putty bath, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he,
it's not Blofeld. There's no way he'd go down that easily.
Right. I do like once, of course, all the doctors leave and Bond shows up in disguise and is, I guess, there just to check on things or just kind of oversee it. And, then the real, in quotes, the real Blofeld shows up and, his goons are there to, they've got him at gunpoint and everything. And I like him taking out one of the guys with the scalpels. Like I said, it's, the brutality is ratcheted up a little bit, and it's just...
Oh, yeah, he's like Death Wish. Like, he's just...
Yes.
He's just out for vengeance, and it's like he's lost like a screw is loose, and not being Bond.
Yeah.
Like, he's not smooth at all. He just gets straight to the point, kill, blow.
Yeah. But then the dumping Blofeld's body in, like, the I guess the
magma,
molten mud, I guess is what it is. It's just kind of kind of weak.
Yeah, you knew it wasn't really him.
It's brutal, dumping someone in like this boiling hot mud. Like it's a terrible death, but you just have a hard time believing that that's the end of Blofeld,
Yeah, well, after that happens, they cut to the cat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, his soul jumped into the cat. No way.
Nice.
I'm like, it was the way they shot the cat so ominously.
Yeah.
They were shooting the collar with the diamonds, but it was just weird.
Yeah.
So was the cat controlling him? What's going on? It was just so weird.
Well, and it's even weirder later on. You get the cloned cat, or just another cat that happens to be white. But
yeah, I saw a lot of Austin Powers in this movie.
Yeah.
It was I don't know. So then it kicks into the theme song.
Diamonds are forever.
It's not as over the top as I remember.
Yeah.
I thought it was up there with Goldfinger.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
It doesn't get that big,
Yeah.
It's for a Shirley Bassey song. It's fairly subtle. I think she comes back for Moonraker, and I don't remember how big that one gets. So that'll.
Yeah.
And it's an okay, and now we're kind of into that standard women silhouettes while the song plays, and really no deviation from the last couple that we've seen. So, which is fine. It's
a Bond trademark.
Right. Yeah. I do like that. After the intro or after the credits and everything, we jump back to. Hard to tell if they're in. It seems like they're in MI6 headquarters or somewhere, just because it opens with Bond and M walking through a hallway, some kind of place. But it must be some place that has diamonds or is somehow affiliated with diamonds, because they're just talking about the particular carats and size of this one diamond, and then they are brought in to meet with some British diamond expert, I guess.
Yeah, this is the part where I just thought Bond was bored.
Yes, his
nemesis is gone, now what?
Yeah. Well, and M kind of calls him out on that, like, hey, now that Blofeld's dead, now you can, come back and do some real work, So kind of giving him some shit about being distracted for the last 2 years, So.
Well, it was that, and then when they showed the desert scene with those two guys. Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint,
yeah.
Something like that. I thought they were supposed to be the new Blofeld or something.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was going to be his next nemesis, and I was very...
Oh, okay.
Because those two guys, they were just awful actors.
We'll get to them.
Brutal.
I like the way they set up this scene with the diamond expert is just giving them complete exposition and just background as far as how the South African, diamond mines work, and that, there's, even though the words that he's saying are, there are strict rules in place to prevent smuggling and this and that, but what we're seeing is the actual miners, stealing diamonds. And he says, even if some diamonds do sneak through the mines, then all the miners have to undergo, they have to visit a doctor or, in this case, a dentist. And, this dentist is just pulling diamonds out of people's teeth left and right, but he's paying them for it.
Yeah.
So essentially, I like that it cuts back and forth between Britain and the diamond mines. And it's just you get a lot of information really quick, and I think it's a better way of showing, it'd be better than just having three stuffy white British dudes in a room talking about diamonds, Yeah,
it was nice seeing, corporate speak with actual reality.
Yeah.
Because they can say whatever they want, but this is showing what's actually happening.
Yeah. So what we see then is, the diamonds go from the mine, the miners take them to the dentist is paying them, and then eventually the dentist, makes probably a semi-regular drop-off somewhere out in the desert in South Africa, and here we meet Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, and they, apparently they aren't the regular contact for the dentist.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the scene with the first scene we get with them, with they take him out with a scorpion.
No. That was awful acting by the dentist, where he
yes,
bitten and dies instantly.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
A few stinkers in this movie.
Yes, the performances as a whole in this movie are not great. But they are consistently not great.
I know. Well, after a while, I was like, is this Mr. Kidd just a weird guy? Like, and that's why he talks the way he talks?
If God had wanted man to fly,
he would have given him wings, Mr. Kidd.
And Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint are interesting. Because they are, right off the bat, intended to be strange and, they're unique from any henchman we've ever had.
They're a couple.
Yes, they are a couple. They are, specifically very openly gay, and as a,
which means they have to be strange.
Exactly. That's the unfortunate part, that, if they're going to be gay, they're going to be weird, which, it's unfortunate, but spoilers, I do like them in this movie, so I'm fine with them being weird, because there's nothing that says you can't be gay and weird. It's just, in a movie like this, anytime we see anyone with, any, at the time, any abnormalities that way, they have to be portrayed as strange. So,
hey, this is a movie ahead of its time.
Yes.
Blofeld was cross-dressing.
Yeah.
Later in the movie.
Yeah, which we've seen before with, which one was it? Was Thunderball, someone dressed in drag, but, yeah.
This guy was not a very attractive woman.
No.
But yeah, they were all over the map in this movie.
Yeah, they had some, I will say, you are right, it is kind of ahead of its time. There are the women we see in the movie, for the most part, very strong and independent. We have...
Yeah, Bambi and Thumper.
Yeah, very tough, performance-wise, their acting was pretty terrible, but...
Oh, yeah. I'm assuming they were stunt women or something.
I think so.
Because they're doing a lot of acrobatic moves.
Yeah. And, we've got Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John, and she's the first American Bond girl. And she's very independent and,
Yeah, she was a little scatterbrained in the movie.
A little bit, yeah.
At some points she's like, damsel in distress, and then she'll turn around and give you a good one line, and it's hard to pin her down, so I guess that's good to have some complexity.
Yeah, but no, I would say overall the characters are probably more progressive than we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good thing.
American writing or something?
That could be.
Because that's right around, I think, a lot of, female rights and stuff, and, bra burning and all that jazz.
Sure.
Although that might have been a little earlier. But it was probably, still, you could, a lot of feminist movement stuff still going on.
Yeah.
So, I could see that.
Yeah.
Influencing writers a bit.
Yeah. I think the last part, kind of in the first scene, the diamond, exposition scene, is that their main concern is that they're aware that over the past couple of years all this smuggling has been happening, but what they've been noticing is that the diamonds haven't then shown up on the black market.
Yeah.
The diamonds aren't showing up on the market, so the demand increases, which hikes up the price.
Yeah.
And so their concern is that out of nowhere someone is going to release all these diamonds and then crash the market. So that's their main concern with investigating. Because as far as they know, someone is just stockpiling diamonds to sell them later at, I guess, a higher price, or you know, if you think about it, it could be kind of what Goldfinger was doing with the gold. They thought he was smuggling gold or stockpiling gold in an attempt to, you know, disrupt the market.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I know. I swear we've been through this before.
Yeah. And in fact, one of the original script ideas would have been to have the main villain be played by Gert Frobe as Goldfinger's twin brother.
Oh, that would have been awful.
So, yeah, so, you know, we didn't get that, and it's probably for the best that we didn't have that. You know, we don't want to see Diamond Finger. You know, I mean, I like Gert Frobe. He was awesome as Goldfinger, but, you know.
It's very soap opera.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you might as well throw an evil twin in.
Right. I like in the Diamond Guy's office, you know, Bond says that he's excited to go to South Africa, and he's M just always wanting to screw with Bond is like, well, you're going to Holland. So in the exposition we've seen, you know, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd went to some school in South Africa where this old lady was teaching African students English, and she's in on the whole diamond smuggling, and, you know, so they give the diamonds to her. She puts them in a hollowed-out Bible.
Yeah.
And then...
I don't get it.
Yeah. Then that's when M says that, you know, the diamonds are set to arrive in Holland. You know, it's kind of fuzzy how they get on this intel, but, you know, that's when, you know, Bond questions how they figured all this out, and M says, you know, that we've been doing all right without you for the last couple of years or whatever. So
the part that I never understood was, I get that Mr. Kidd and his buddy are killing the people in the chain.
Yes.
But I don't understand why. Is it because it's just the last of the diamonds they need, I'm assuming?
It must be.
Because obviously they've been doing this for a while to get all those...
Right. Yes, this must be like the last, you know, the last bit of diamonds that they need to complete their ultimate goal.
Because all they're doing is handing them off, killing the next person in line.
Yeah, I think what, you know, Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint have been sent by Blofeld to close up all the loose ends. So that's why they take out everybody associated with this last, you know, diamond smuggling heist or whatever.
I guess I just don't understand why they don't just take the diamonds and go.
Yes, it is unclear why Wint and Kidd give the diamonds to the old lady. If the old lady's going to take them to Holland, give them to Tiffany Case, you know, who's supposed to give them then to Franks.
It's just asking for them to get lost along the way.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I was talking about with the shell game. Like, you know, we spend most of the movie just following these diamonds. And I can talk about it later, or I can do it now. You know, I counted the various, like, the number of times the diamonds change hands.
Oh.
It's 16 times.
Yeah, easily.
The diamonds go from the diamond mine in South Africa. You know, we're literally starting with where they start from, you know, they go from South Africa to the dentist, then to Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint, then to the old lady, then to Tiffany Case, who's supposed to give them to Franks. Yeah. Franks is supposed to take them to L.A., to the Morton Slumber funeral home in Nevada. From there, they're supposed to go to a Shady Tree, which is a comedian.
Yeah, it's a person.
Yeah. But then at some point, they switch, and Felix has the real diamonds.
Yeah.
Which end up at the Circus as a stuffed prize, you know, which go back to Tiffany Case, who puts them in an airport locker. Then somehow, which isn't really explained why they're there, or, you know, they go from the airport locker to, they get put in a van, the van goes to, you know, this Willard White Tektronix place, which eventually get installed into the satellite at the end of the movie. So there's a lot of, you know,
There's a lot I don't care about in that.
Yes. So, sorry for just basically running through all that, right off the bat, but it's important to know that, these diamonds are going to change hands repeatedly, and it's really, really easy to get, mixed up in the where are they, how did the real ones get swapped out with the fake ones, and,
Yeah, it's overcomplicated.
Yeah.
You don't want that many people handling something that important.
Right. When it seems like they could have just gone from South Africa to Nevada. I mean...
Yeah, they're jumping all over the freaking place.
I guess it must have something to do with getting them through U.S. Customs. And they have to, for some reason, their plan is to use Franks, who is maybe a professional smuggler.
Was he like an assets acquisitioner or something?
Something like that. And I guess he's just been hired by Blofeld. But then I don't know what part Tiffany Case plays. She is, takes them from the old lady.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I mean, the thing is improvised because they use the body to smuggle them in.
Right. Yeah. Bond ends up killing the real Mr. Franks after he's posed as Franks.
Yeah, and he pretends that he killed Bond.
Yes, which I think is a really clever move to, he takes out Franks and then quickly does a shell game, swaps his wallet for Frank's wallet, and then lets Tiffany, find out who the dead guy is, And she, I like that she's impressed that Bond kills,
that Bond kills
Franks.
Bond.
Franks kills Bond, and she, she apparently knows who Bond is, like his reputation, because he's a terrible spy,
Yeah.
Like, she knows, who Bond is, so it's a nice little bit of...
Because all spies carry their ID on them at all times.
Well, and it's a...
That's weird.
The thing that identifies him is like a UK Playboy Club card that says James Bond on it.
That's just weird.
So...
yeah. But as you can tell, just listening to us try to explain this movie, it's complicated.
Yeah. So
yeah, Bond killed Bond. Oh wait, no, he's now Franks. Wait,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I like the Franks, travels to L.A. and hooks up with our old buddy Felix Leiter.
Yeah.
And I love the line, when Bond, meets, or, Bond is greeting Felix, and he's like, "Felix Leiter, you old fraud." So it's just maybe it's a nod to the fact that Felix Leiter's been played by, I guess probably 4 or 5 different people at this point, or, it's just a fun bit of, like, Bond actually saying hello to a friend, something we don't get a lot of. Oh, before this, I wanted to talk about, we get to see Moneypenny in Amsterdam, and she's just, for whatever reason, is
desperate,
helping. Helping to facilitate the switching of Bond and Franks. Like, she's at the rental car agency or something. And I think it's, if you're supposed to take that Connery is playing Bond directly after On Her Majesty's, I think it's really insensitive of Moneypenny to joke about wanting him to bring her back a diamond ring.
No, it was too soon.
I know, it's and they play it off just fine because it's the same level of flirting that they've been doing the entire time. But, if this is Bond still kind of grieving over, and maybe he's not grieving because in Bond's mind he has killed Blofeld and it's been 2 years later and maybe he's kind of over it, but...
Yeah, I think she's in cahoots with Blofeld. She hired to kill Bond's wife.
That makes sense.
She's like, he's mine. That'd be awesome if that's really how it happened.
Oh, that would be great.
She's just jealous.
Yeah.
Sneaking in information. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
Finally give her character something to actually do.
I don't know.
We're still in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but we can kind of, I think, jump from Amsterdam to I mean, unless there's anything else to talk about, there is a clever scene of Tiffany checking Bond's fingerprints.
Yeah, that was quite convenient.
You know, what's that?
That was quite convenient that Q gave fake fingerprint.
Yeah.
She's got like a lab-grade machine in her hotel room.
Right.
Or whatever that is.
I guess it's just her residence, you know. Yeah. But the real Frank shows up because after leaving customs, he apparently broke free and killed, you know, somebody and got away and is now essentially on the way to meet with Tiffany. So Bond has to show up. Of course, we've already talked about the wallet swap. So let's see. So we want to jump to, let's see.
That just made me laugh that her fingerprint machine took up a whole wardrobe when my phone does it.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to just quickly talk about the funeral scene, and I love seeing Connery play Bond playing the grieving brother.
It's funny. All the things one wanted to say to one's brother when it's all too late.
Let me assure you once again of our deepest condolences. Would you please board the aircraft?
We were inseparable, you know.
Please, Mr. Franks.
The guy at the plane just wants him to shut up and get on the plane. The funeral guy, Morton Slumber, is in on everything, so I don't know why they're going through the charade of burning the body, getting the diamonds out and everything, which...
Yeah, I don't even know if they actually burned the body or if they just, you know, moved it into the oven area and then just... I don't know.
Well, I think they have to because Felix asks where the diamonds are because he's patting down the body. He can't figure it out. And then Connery has this really weird line where he says alimentary, you know, my dear Felix or whatever.
It was like intestines, I think.
Yeah, and digestion and intestines. So I guess they've either shoved the diamonds up the dude's ass or they've rammed them down his throat. Somehow the diamonds are inside. What's that?
I'm going with up the ass.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Give them one final, you know.
Well, just, you know, they wouldn't want to check that area.
That's true. So, yeah. So they must, you know, legitimately burn the body, which it's a weird transition because they put the casket in the, you know, incinerator, and it seems like they only wait 2 or 3 minutes, and then Bond is presented with his urn just chock full of diamonds. Like, no ash residue, no bits of bone, you know, just pure diamonds. So...
Yeah, it was kind of,
you know...
I didn't realize there were that many diamonds.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess someone had to sift through all the ash and bone and bits of, you know, burn-up casket and all that, and they've just... I don't know.
Them up because they're all sparkly.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought
so it's kind of a weird...
ashes over the top, at least.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not like you open it up and there's diamonds. I thought they'd hide it a little better.
Yeah. And then this is where, you know, part of this whole real diamond versus fake diamonds gets real confusing because Bond takes him to, I guess, a mausoleum tomb, puts him in there, but apparently those are the fake diamonds. So I don't know when they were switched.
Yeah, there's no... they would have had to have switched them before they got the body to the airport. Like, at some point he gave them to somebody else. I'm assuming somebody in... British intelligence.
I don't know. At this point, you know,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Felix is involved, and he can't find the diamonds because they're in the body. But then, you know, when do they go from the CIA switching them out to they load the body instantly into the hearse, you know, and go to the funeral home? So there's no... It's one of those things that they just, in the writing it says the diamonds were switched, but we're never given any indication of how or when or, you know, we're just supposed to forget about it, so I guess we can move on.
Yeah, and you'd think with all the emphasis on the shell game part, they'd clue you in on how the hell this happened.
Right, yeah. It almost would have been nice if we'd had something at the end of the movie like a Ocean's 11 where they, you know, back up and show you how all the pieces and parts, you know, a little montage of, okay, and this is when we switched, and this is, you know, but sadly we don't get any of that, but, And why is there a Vegas comic involved in this and picking up the diamonds from the funeral home? Like,
that was just awkward, and like when he was on stage, his acorns didn't even seem to want to be there.
No, not at all.
And it was just awkward and sad.
Yeah, so I don't know why we get that guy involved.
That's why he's doing it, because he's so past his prime.
Could be, and maybe he's just trying to make some money.
Act in like 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe he's doing it because he's got, I don't know, he knows he's a joke? I don't know.
Could be, yeah. You know, we don't get anyone's motivations in this movie, really, so
No.
Who knows why, washed up Vegas, comedy act is for some reason involved in the day-to-day, like, field work of the mafia, I
mean, it makes sense. He probably owes somebody a favor, I guess.
Could be. That's very
got the job in Vegas. I don't know.
Yeah. At this point, the
whole mafia thing's sort of weak in this movie.
Yeah.
You get those guys that have the hearse, and I thought they were going to play a bigger role.
See, and I like those guys. Yeah. I like the guy driving. He's just got a good... He's I think, supposed to be the stereotypical Vegas mob guy,
Yeah.
And then you got the guy in the back seat, like, I got a brother.
Yeah, like the stupid guy that's somebody's cousin.
Yeah. It just keeps jumping around from, like, it goes to... From the funeral, you go to Vegas, where Bond is just going to take the money that he got from Slumber Inc. And just go play some... what's he playing? Craps?
Yeah.
And then meets up with Plenty O'Toole, who, I mean, it's all out there in the open. Like, her name is Plenty of, I guess it's a dick joke?
Yeah, because he asks, I assume you got that from your father?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's brutal. That is straight up Austin Powers.
Yes, that's the lot of vagina,
Plenty O'Toole. And that actress is awful.
She is, but, she's kind of fun. She's at least, she's not integral to anything.
No.
She's just there as a kind of distraction. And she's out of the movie, very quickly, so it's kind of a, not to get off on too much of a tangent, but, the actress that plays Plenty O'Toole is Lana Wood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you're familiar with Natalie Wood in the...
Oh, yeah.
That's her sister. She's the sister of Natalie Wood, who disappeared in 1981. Or not disappeared, but...
What's the one that fell off the boat with...
Yes. She was married to Robert Wagner, who goes on to play number 2 in the Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
He's the guy that's like Rob Lowe in the past, So that was her husband... they were on a boat while filming. She was filming a movie with Christopher Walken called Brainstorm, and and Christopher Walken was on the boat with them as well. They were going for like a weekend, pleasure cruise kind of thing on their yacht or boat or whatever.
Two dudes in a lady.
Yeah, I mean, and there were probably other people there, but probably no one else like of note, because the whole, everything you hear about this whole mysterious death is that, they were on the boat. No one's clear on how she went in the water, but when they did find her body a couple days later, I think, she had bruises that looked like they were there before she died. So it's just a very weird set of circumstances that is kind of still going on. Like, they're still looking into that. Like, I read as recently as like 2013, there was new evidence. So whole thing is really weird. And then it gets stranger because Jill St. John, who played Tiffany Case, ended up marrying Robert Wagner a couple years later. So, just, I don't know. Not that has anything to do with, the drowning or disappearance, but it's just strange.
Yeah.
So, but I do like the scene when, the goons show up in Bond's hotel room and they chuck Lana Wood, or, chuck Plenty O'Toole out the window, and you kind of get that iconic line of, I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Them, and then they go away. And
yeah, it's weird. Like, why are they there other than to, I guess they're Tiffany Case's bodyguards, kind of, because they leave and Bond hooks up with Tiffany in the next room.
Yeah, that was weird because he was just getting ready to hook up with Plenty O'Toole.
Yeah.
So that was a bit awkward.
Yeah. So I guess then Tiffany and Bond, who she still thinks is Frank's, kind of hatched this plan of they're going to take the diamonds and rent a car and just get the hell out of there. Like she mentions Hong Kong, or they're just going to take the diamonds and get out of town.
Yeah, the classic taking with you, James.
Yeah. And she's just in it for the diamonds, essentially, which apparently are only worth $50,000, because that's all that Frank's was going to get paid to move the diamonds, unless.
Well, that's just his fee, though.
Oh, okay. That's just his fee to move the diamonds. Okay, so they're worth a lot more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's the 70s, but they got to be worth more than that. There's a ton of them.
I think I just got hung up on the 50,000.
Yeah, I thought that was a little cheap.
To move merchandise like that, yeah.
Because it's like earned worth of diamonds.
Yeah, well, yeah, assuming it's just full from...
Yeah.
But yeah.
It makes you think if it's, the top is full of diamonds.
Yeah.
I think it'd be the reverse, but whatever.
Right.
There's a cameo of the costume from Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As she's like trying to escape the circus, they have the
lady that turns into
weird sideshow. Yeah.
And I was like, hey, it's the Planet of the Apes gorilla.
It could have been
quality.
Yeah.
And it was in America, so I wonder if it was the same.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, I can't get rid of these damn apes.
Yeah. I find it really weird that Felix's plan is for Tiffany to win a stuffed prize at an obviously fixed game, and then that's where the real diamonds are.
Overly complicated yet again.
Especially because, Felix's guys then immediately start to trail Tiffany, and she catches on that she's being followed and escapes the hotel. And eventually she throws the diamonds in an airport locker. So it's just another, unnecessary, we got to keep these diamonds moving.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the whole point, but, I don't know. It just seems unnecessary.
They could have cut, a good hour out of this movie just getting rid of all this action. And
that just tells me that there's not enough story here, so they just filled it with, we're just going to keep moving these diamonds around until we kind of get them close enough to where we need them to be in the overall story. So, the diamonds ultimately end up, taken from the airport, given to Bert Saxby, who is one of Willard White's, he's like seemingly he's the pit boss of the casino.
Yeah, like his right-hand man, I think they call it.
Yeah. And it's another one of those, they're really making use of their employees. If they're going to have the comedian as a middleman and the pit boss as a, one of the higher up, like a lieutenant, kind of thing. And they're really, making use of their employee, pool.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd because, Mr. White is kind of like a Howard Hughes guy, so nobody's seen him.
Yes, and that is a intentional similarity.
Yeah, I figured.
Apparently, from what I read, Albert Broccoli, when they were working on this movie, or before they started this movie, he had a dream about meeting a Howard Hughes impersonator, and Howard Hughes and Albert Broccoli were friends. Apparently they knew each other. But Albert Broccoli had this dream of going to meet his friend and, being introduced to his impersonator. So that's where the entire plot device of having Willard White be, being impersonated throughout this entire movie came from. So that's kind of why they dropped the whole Goldfinger's twin brother, aspect of the movie and went with kind of the main, I guess, another shell game. Just another like bait and switch kind of thing. So
yeah, I saw some trivia on I guess the guy that played White was actually an employee of.
Yes, yeah, I noted that as well because that's Jimmy Dean. I don't know if you're
the sausage guy,
the sausage king of the Midwest. Country singer / sausage, magnate.
Yeah.
I don't. But yeah, so I'm guessing he was like a Vegas act, maybe, and maybe that's how he was an employee of the real Howard Hughes, who did live at the top of a casino for many years. So,
he had that same chair with the toilet paper.
Oh, probably.
That was so gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did read that Jimmy Dean felt very uncomfortable portraying someone who was modeled completely after his boss. So,
yeah, and his boss happens to be unstable.
Yeah, yeah. Because this is probably the reclusive Howard Hughes peeing into mason jars era of Howard Hughes.
Long fingernails and toenails.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, when Bond fell into that chair, I was like, ew.
Yeah. Let's see. So that leads us into Bond is in Blofeld / Willard White's office, where we learn that Blofeld has been, impersonating Willard White for years, with the use of this voice box technology. And that's one of the things that really bugs me when, Blofeld takes a phone call and his voice completely sounds like Willard White's voice. As soon as he gets off the call, he explains to Bond that, it's something that the scientist cooked up to change his voice. And he says, science was never my strong suit.
Yeah, that was weird.
And this is a Blofeld that has done allergy research in the Alps and apparently cured allergies, Sure. I mean, I'd get it if in On Her Majesty's, if Blofeld was just the mastermind and not involved, but I'm pretty sure they specifically say that he was, directly involved with the research and the science of that whole allergy business.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember him messing around with the scientific equipment.
Yeah, so that's one of the unfortunate, inconsistencies with the character of Blofeld that I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
So, but then, we're led to, like I said, Bond in Blofeld's office, and he takes out one of the duplicates with a really awesome, he uses his Ascension gun and just shoots a dart right into the, forehead of one of the fake Blofelds, which, he has a 50-50 shot, and he shoots the one duplicate. So had he shot the other Blofeld, he would have essentially...
won.
Won, yes.
Well, he uses the cat to figure out who's the real Blofeld, I guess.
Right idea, Mr. Bond.
But wrong pussy.
Yeah, he kicks the cat towards the one on the couch, and...
I didn't get that. It's like you kick... I mean, anyone's going to catch it. How does that say it? I mean, I could understand if the cat veered on its own towards one.
Right.
But and then you get the duplicate cat coming out, and I'm like...
Yeah, so Bond is then, Blofeld lets him leave in the elevator, which...
It was weird. Sean Connery, he was like, "Oh shucks, you got me."
Yeah, it was almost like, come back and try and kill me again some other time, Bond. But for now, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. And there's the elevator.
Yeah, at first I thought the floor was going to fall out, and then
yes, and that's what Bond expected. That's why he I guess shifted to be as close to the wall as he could. But then instead he's gassed. So
yeah, it would have been cooler if the floor fell out.
Yeah. And then, let's see, that's when we get Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint, who have kind of popped up, he Mr. Kidd and Mr. Went are kind of like Red Grant in From Russia with Love. Like, they just keep their presence throughout the entire movie. Like, they keep showing up to, kill people, or, in this case, they show up to take Bond out to the desert. And I don't know if their plan is to leave him in the desert for dead.
It was stupid, whatever it was.
Yeah, because
burying him in the tunnel. I mean, it's a freaking tunnel.
But they don't even. Do they know that the tunnel that they put him in is going to be put into the ground the next day and buried? Like, there's no clear, like, okay, we know that Bond won't wake up for so many hours, and by that time we know that the pipeline is going to be buried. Like,
they didn't even pick him up.
Yeah, they just left him, essentially dumped him out in the desert and left. Like, I don't know. I don't get there's no way to tell, was that their plan, or did they just want to, I don't know.
I mean, they've been pretty brutal up until that
point.
Point.
Yeah, they killed Shady Tree, just for failing, I guess, to get the real diamonds,
They killed the old lady, they killed the dentist,
Yeah.
I mean, they almost killed Bond in the coffin.
Right.
But
so it's just very impractical.
It was at least, I don't know, they didn't put as much into this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I was trying to figure out what the heck broke in the trunk. I didn't realize it was aftershave or cologne.
Yeah, throughout a couple of the scenes of Mr. Wint, he's constantly using this cologne or whatever, just to occasionally dabs it on, sprays it on himself. So that's that's in the trunk, and it, Bond smells it, and just kind of saves that for later, kind of thing.
Well, he mentions to the rat that one of us smells like a tart's handkerchief or something.
Yeah, which is that a gay joke?
I think so.
Okay.
It does, like, tart is like female.
What's that?
A tart is like a loose female, I guess. I don't.
Oh, I guess so.
Because usually you call somebody a tart, you're talking to a female.
That's true. I guess I took it as like you could have used the word a dandy or a fancy man, like someone who you're essentially calling gay.
Fancy man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean.
I've never.
That's how I took it, but maybe.
Well, that's sort of what it's implying. It's
yes.
Whoever wears this is probably
feminine or whatever.
Feminine, well, bluesy apparently, but
not a man's man.
Yeah, it's not brute.
Yeah, not Old Spice or brute.
Like one of us smells dashing. He says,
right?
It smells like a handkerchief from a tart.
Yeah. But I do like when Bond gets out of the tunnel, he's like, I was just out walking my rat, and I seem to have lost my way.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like, it's just Bond at his, pure charm, and,
Well, that's just it. He's like too many different Bonds.
Yeah.
He's like vengeful Bond, he's like, shucks Bond, and then he's like charismatic Bond.
Yeah.
He's sort of all over the map in this movie.
Very much, yeah.
Like, I didn't even feel like he was that into the women in this movie.
Not really. I mean, he was about to get down with Plenty O'Toole when they're interrupted, and then instead he just goes, finds Tiffany Case in the bed the next room over, and
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean,
emotions, because he's not doing his normal like flirty lines, I guess.
Not at all. He just hops into bed with her, and it's assumed, I guess, that they're gonna. Because she's throwing him the come hither eyes or whatever, and
he just strips down, and that's all he does.
Yeah, no moves, no like seduction, just
he just puts it on the table.
Yeah,
he's just thwap. Here you are, honey.
Yep.
Lazy Bond.
Yeah, just completely like checked out, kind of like, this is where in the script it says I'm supposed to have sex with Tiffany, so I guess I'll do it, That leads us to Bond using the same like voice changing technology that Q whips up to call Blofeld, pretending to be Bert Saxby, the pit boss, and says that, I just saw James Bond in the casino, and
It's so bad. He's like, oh, James Bond's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
but the whole point of the call is to sniff out Willard White's location, which Blofeld gives up right away and says, go check on Willard at his whatever estate, like his home away from home, because most of the time I guess he lives at the penthouse, but really they've got him stashed away at his desert house. Which is when we get to meet Bambi and Thumper. And from what I could read, like, I thought maybe there's a reason they're called Bambi and Thumper. I mean, it's just a reference to Bambi, obviously, and that's it. There's no other, there's no deeper meaning other than
nope.
They just named him after Disney characters. Like, no reason, just,
Yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
American writers.
What's that?
I blame the American writers.
Yeah, that's probably
it.
Yeah. And they kicked Bond's ass real good, but
I know. And then they took him into the water. I'm like, why would you even do that?
Yeah, it is weird. As soon as they get him into the water, it's like they lose the entire upper hand.
Well, yeah, because, their whole advantage is their acrobatic skills.
Yeah, and he stood no chance against these women. Like, they literally, the one, I guess it's Bambi, was up above him and had, her legs, wrapped around his neck and everything, and he looked, at no other point does Bond or Connery look as out of shape and as tired as he did right then. So they completely have, and they probably come the closest to killing or taking out Bond so far.
Red.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as they get him in the water, he just completely takes over, I guess, and has them.
He's just stronger upper body.
Must be, yeah.
Like, their whole advantage on land is the fact that they're doing all these flips and flying around.
Yeah.
Acrobatic, and you can't be acrobatic in the water.
Right.
It was just weird that they took it there.
Yeah.
But,
and, of course, that's when, we find out where the real Willard White is, who's, upstairs or something. And
oh, he's downstairs and...
Downstairs,
underneath the pool.
Okay, that's right.
And, the Zaxby guy ends up trying to kill him.
Yeah. Gets,
a horrible line ensues.
Oh, are you talking about when,
White. Tommy's fired.
Yeah.
That's so lame.
Yeah.
I don't know. And is he really that country in real life?
I don't think so. Although I don't know that I've ever seen Jimmy Dean, outside of this movie. Like, I'm aware of him in pop culture, but I've never seen him anywhere else, so I couldn't say. And he doesn't have a very extensive IMDb list. So he's not, I guess, not the best actor. I'm betting he got the part because Albert Broccoli knew Howard Hughes and probably then met Jimmy Dean, So I'm guessing that's kind of where the connection came from, why he's in this movie. So maybe not, but,
Yeah, I didn't know if he was just supposed to be a drastic stereotype.
Yeah, I don't know.
A billionaire American.
That could be. Maybe I'm going to play the rich American. I kept thinking of him as an oil tycoon, but, he's big Texas, millionaire kind of thing that got a bunch of money probably from oil and then,
branched it into, industries all over the world.
Yeah, various technology and I think, let's see, did we completely glossed over the Bond going to the Tektronix place.
I thought we passed that by.
Yeah, so when was that? After the diamonds are taken from the airport, they're thrown into a van, which is taken by Saxby, and then later on, Professor Dr. Metz, taken to this, one of Willard White's companies, which is a tech company, which I kind of assume is kind of like a, if you think about another millionaire like Richard Dawkins, the guy from Virgin Air.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson. That's the family.
Oh, that's the feud. That's Who's the Virgin Air guy? Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Yes, Branson. I get that maybe one of his companies is very involved in tech, and then they're so maybe kind of working with NASA, which is why they have why they have like satellites and all this space technology and all that stuff. So
and I know you're going to talk about it. The set that he runs through.
Yeah, which the moon landing set, which we get a nice bit of Connery pretending to be this guy that he meets like 2 minutes earlier, and he goes into this lab pretending to be Klaus Hergesheimer, poking around the office, looking for, saying he's there for, like, to check on the radiation shields. Yeah. So it's a bit of fun, like Connery as Bond pretending to be someone else, just completely talking out of his ass, like, just to get a closer eye on everything. And that's when he discovers the cassette tapes used to control the satellite and everything. And
yeah.
That's kind of when we get the first inference of what the diamonds are possibly being used for, because we just now see the satellite.
Yeah, I read that Hergesheimer is just a joke because writers couldn't remember names, so they just call him Hergesheimer.
Yeah, it was just
So he's a useless character.
Right. But then, Bond is outed because the real Hergesheimer comes in a second later. And then for some reason I guess I can buy that there would be a fake moon setting there as far as like for simulations go and practicing and that kind of stuff. But, Connery or Bond is hiding among the moon rocks, and then this chase ensues. But as soon as the guards spot Bond, they tell the astronauts to get involved and like try and stop him. But why are the astronauts continuing to move slowly?
They are committed to their craft.
I guess they are. Their method is hell.
They're still going in slow motion, trying to catch him.
So weird. It's like
the only thing I can think of is maybe they're on like some kind of pulley system.
Could be some kind of resistance, training. That could be.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
And then there's the moon buggy escape and chase.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bond jumps in this, go-kart souped up, with a bubble dome on top with all these, like, robotic arms. And
the moon buggy.
He has... What's that?
The moon buggy.
Yeah, I guess it's... do you want to talk about the chase?
I mean, why did they think they could take, like, sedans out?
I don't know.
I mean, granted, they follow up shortly after with those odd tricycle motors.
The three-wheelers,
yeah.
But it's like when they're chasing them with the cars, it's like they're intentionally wrecking. It's like...
Well, I know the director said he hated American cars, and that's why there's so many destroyed in this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the reason, because they have like an SUV or a Humvee.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess they never expect that they're going to have to chase someone down through the desert, but just the fact that they take like four or five cars and just, it's like as soon as they get out into the desert, they're just swerving all over the place, driving over ditches and chipping over. And
it gets to that later in Vegas where the chase continues.
Yes.
And it made me think of the Blues Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
All the cops are crashing into each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, it was kind of cool seeing a chase through Vegas, too.
No, the Vegas chase, I think, is done really well. Yeah. And actually, the three-wheeler chase part of the desert chase is pretty decent. Yeah. I like how...
With him on the three-wheeler, though.
Yeah, he looked so massive on the three-wheeler. It looked like he was riding a kid's tricycle.
Yeah, he looked uncomfortable at best.
Yeah, but it's awesome when he was like driving towards Tiffany to meet up with her car, and he just like jumps off the back, and the thing keeps going, and that was actually Connery jumping off that three-wheeler.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you see it rolling down the street as they drive by.
Yeah, it's like probably unintentional that it was going to keep going, but it looks pretty awesome when they...
That happened earlier, too, with like a wheel from the dune buggy flying into...
Yeah, that was some kind of goof on set. Apparently that moon buggy was constantly, like the wheels on it were terrible, and apparently once it went out of frame, one of the wheels came off, and then... But just so happened to do it in front of one of the car crashes, so they kind of had to keep the car crash scene, which, you know, had the wheel in it, you know.
Yeah, that thing looked shoddily built.
Yeah, yeah.
Did not look like it could handle the moon.
No.
But yeah, the Vegas chase was pretty cool, but yeah, it made me think of the Blues Brothers. I wonder if they got some of their inspiration from that chase scene.
Could be.
Because it was like the frantic pace of it, and then the mass, just crazy crashes that shouldn't really happen in real life.
Right.
It's more comical.
Yeah. They you know, a lot of good scenes of, you know, the real cars, like, on real Vegas roads, you know, doing a lot of, like, tight turns and going around corners, and a lot of, like, good, you know, stunt driving. And it's kind of cool, like, you can tell they shoot in Vegas, because, like, the sidewalks were loaded with you know, onlookers and everything, just, like, you know, you can tell that they just had to shut down the street for filming and everything, but... and then they do that weird thing where he goes up on two wheels.
Yeah.
But then they come out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then he comes out on the opposite side, on the opposite, you know.
Yeah, he was somehow up in the air, and then when he gets through, she's up in the air.
Yeah, they
screwed up the side that was up in the air.
Yeah. Who knows why, or I don't know.
Because you'd think it would be easier to, as a stunt driver, to take your side up, rather than being the one down lower.
Right. I don't know.
Seems like it would be easier to aim if you're aiming your side.
Maybe.
I don't know. I saw it on Mythbusters, how easy it is to do.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's not. And he actually rolled it, one of the Mythbusters guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But he was able to do it. It's just, you know, how plausible is it to just randomly do it?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we went from there to the whole Blofeld, Willard White's penthouse, and then to White's estate, and then we're back in Vegas with Q just casually cheating at slot machines, which I like. You know, just for it's like he's just showing off a gadget for no reason other than to test it out in the field and cheat in Vegas. Then that's when Tiffany recognizes Blofeld in drag, which, well, I guess she recognizes
the case, wasn't it? Oh no, it was the cat.
The cat, right? So I don't know. That's kind of, there's some holes in that, I think. Like,
how does she know the cat?
Exactly. Yeah. But that's when we get she gets thrown into the car, and we get, you know, Blofeld in drag, which is...
That was unpleasant.
Yeah.
If you're going to do the drag, at least do it well.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And then he has a creepy line about having company.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yeah, well, he's like, well, it's a long journey. I'm glad I'm not making it alone, or something like that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I guess I completely missed that. He did say, like, look what the cat dragged in, you know, which is kind of clever since that's what tips her off, you know.
I don't besmirch them for, you know, cheesy one-liners.
Oh, no, I'm completely fine with the one-liners.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to it with Bond.
Right.
And then it goes to, there's like a scene where Bond mentions, what is it, some part of California, Baja, California.
Yeah.
And Walter White,
I was making that same mistake, like, goof, like, all throughout my notes of Walter White. I was like, oh, that's weird. They called him Walter White, you know, and then I'm like, oh, wait, it's Willard White. But,
Well, Willard, anyway, says, I don't have anything in Baja, California.
Baja?
Yeah. Thanks.
I don't have anything in Baja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where they find the oil rig layer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of...
I do like, as, Blofeld in his, secret lair, he starts to turn on the satellite and everything, and he just starts taking out a Strategic Air Command missile and a Soviet sub, and then eventually a Chinese missile base, and it's like, it's the threat level, that's pretty big. I mean, they're using this diamond-focused laser on this satellite.
You sort of meet the guy that's the laser trajectory expert.
Yeah, is that the
guy that's working with Blofeld, thinking they're trying to get world peace by disarmament?
Yes, yeah. And that's Metz, who was in the Tectronics place giving Bond crap, Yeah,
I didn't realize that was the laser expert that they were talking about.
Yeah.
I thought he was just a scientist, in charge of putting together the satellite. I didn't realize he was, sort of being good, trying to stop, nuclear warfare.
Yeah, I guess there's a loose plan of Blofeld's on the surface.
Yeah.
It's all about destroying all the nations or all the world's nuclear arsenal, and then no one will have weapons like that. So it's
sort of like the Superman plot.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah,
trying to get rid of all the nukes.
Yeah.
It's very unclear, their relationship.
Yeah.
It's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, and once the starts getting heavy, that guy just starts freaking out, yelling at Blofeld that we've got to get out of here, or we got to, I don't know, just so he's definitely not committed to the cause, which is kind of like a, and I know behind the scenes that they can't use Spectre anymore because of the whole Thunderball, writing situation. So, but it's I think, at least when I'm watching these, I still assume that Blofeld works with Spectre, but
it's looking for Frau Furline or whatever.
Yeah, but it's this guy, Spectre wouldn't have this guy,
Nah.
So it's kind of, that's part of another, more to what I was saying about Blofeld's, character being inconsistent, and he no longer seems like the head of a huge crime organization. It just seems like a very, very loose organization.
He had to sort of infiltrate Willard and his money.
Yeah, that's a good point. He had to use someone else's resources to.
But I don't know. Maybe it's still part of him trying to be seen as dead and legitimate, or I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
Because that was the plot of the last movie, is he was legit.
Right. Yeah. So then we've got Bond. I mean, pretty much at the end of it, really. Yeah. Bond literally drops in on the oil rig. It's silly, but I really dig the
hamster ball.
The hamster ball inflatable. Bond just lands on the water and just starts trucking to, meet up with the.
So,
but it's how does he know where he is in relation to the oil rig?
Yeah, it's not see-through.
Good morning, gentlemen. The Acme Pollution Inspection. We're cleaning up the world. We thought this was a suitable starting point.
But I do dig the Bond just showing up unarmed. He just has his wits to as his only weapon. What's that?
Just a cassette tape.
Yeah, that's yeah. He's got his hamster ball and a cassette tape. Let's see.
Yeah, the plan is essentially to switch out the tapes.
Yes, which I like that.
And Bond knows that Blofeld's going to show him his operations as usual.
Well, not only give him the... he doesn't just tell him his plan, he gives him a tour.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And he's like, oh, if you're so interested in the cassette tapes, why don't I show you the cassette tape that controls my satellite?
And where it is located.
Yeah, and that's another one of the, I never get tired seeing Connery playing the bumbling Bond, Yeah. Because he switches the tape out in a nice little, another shell game, kind of he knocks the real tape on the floor, switches it with the one he's got hidden up his sleeve,
hides it in, the girl's
in her underwear or in her bikini, like on the backside. Yeah.
He says like your past is behind you now.
your troubles are behind you now. And I like that there's a miscommunication and she ends up switching it back. Like, I buy it, it's not a... And, at this point, I like that Tiffany is just there sunning herself. Like, she's on the deck. She's not, like, a damsel in distress kind of thing. Like, you think when she gets into the limo at the airport that she's going to be, or maybe it's the casino, wherever she, met up with Blofeld. But you think that she's just going to be, like some of the other Bond women, just used for hostage or whatever. But she's just kind of goes along with it. Like, her situation kind of improves slightly, so she's just going to roll with it,
So she just deals with the cards she's dealt.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I like about her. She's got, I don't know. I wouldn't call it independence because she kind of, like, leans on Bond earlier, or Franks, who she thought was. Now she's kind of leaning on Blofeld, but it is just I'm just going to go with it. So I like that about her.
Yeah, her machine gun skills are not that great.
Oh, that's funny, though. She starts firing and it just backs her up off of the oil rig.
I was like, well, I could see that if it's your first time shooting one.
Sure.
I mean, maybe I'll do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so at this point, I mean, the oil rig, Felix has showed up with his air support, and they don't do it's not like they go through the process of, the helicopters showing up to Blofeld's, Alp fortress in the previous movie. It's like they don't try and deceive anybody. They just completely show up and it's, it's game time.
Oh, yeah, game on.
Yeah, Blofeld activates the oil rig's defenses, which is kind of cool because like all these like machine gun nests like pop up out of nowhere and just becomes a big firefight between helicopters and Blofeld's oil rig pirates or I don't know.
They're roughnecks.
Yeah,
an oil rig.
But then we have another movie where Bond is sitting out of the big battle and spends, 5 minutes escaping from a room that has a,
trapdoor.
Has a trapdoor, has a way out that, So it's another one of... What's that?
On a rope.
On a rope, yeah. So it's almost the same as the previous when he's escaping the gondola control room or whatever.
But it does get to my most favorite scene in a Bond movie with the crane.
Yes.
I was dying.
Yes, I like that Blofeld's like, activate my battle sub.
Yeah.
And gets in it, and it's like, for one thing, I do not believe that Blofeld would trust his life with a crane operator.
No. That thing should have just fallen, like, there should have been a trapdoor under that bad boy.
Yes.
Or had it already in the water.
Yeah, you'd think it would just, you'd go down to take a ladder down to the water surface where there's like a little sub, like, tethered to the supports, that's, I don't know. But
right down into the water. It shouldn't have to be a crane and some dudes just, I don't know, it's weird. It seemed like he couldn't see.
It's unclear, like, he had windows on the top, top side of it, but... Yeah, it's like he couldn't tell that it was Bond in the crane, control room or control.
Yeah, it was kind of funny watching Bond try to figure out the controls.
I do like that he didn't instantly know how to operate it, and that kind of makes it better. Yeah. Like, he's just going to screw around with controls and just like, I'll see what this does. And he, drops Blofeld just straight into the water, like, really quickly, and then just starts... bashing him around inside of it, I agree, it's a fun scene.
Well, he uses him to destroy his own operation. Yeah. He's a wrecking ball.
Yeah. Yeah, because essentially, at this point, the real tape, is put back into the satellite control, and so really there's no stopping the satellite until Bond uses the crane and uses the sub that Blofeld's in and just bashes the control room of the satellite, So that's what destroys that whole operation. It's kind of unfortunate that one of the coolest things we see Bond do in this movie is operate a crane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the chase scene's pretty cool.
The driving scenes of the moon buggy and the desert or the Vegas car chase that was fine.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't stack up to the last movie though.
No.
I mean, that had ski chasing, road racing, had dude getting pureed into a snow plow.
Right.
Almost decapitating Blofeld in a the bobsled chase.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much more fun in the last one.
Yeah. And then this one just kind of ends with your standard helicopter, battle with Blofeld's guys, and I mean
they threw in that whole Mr. Kidd and
yes,
that was just weird. And then,
at the end,
yeah, like they're on the ship and something's gonna happen and
but I do like that there's still a threat at the very end, and then because at this point you kind of forget about them because I don't think we've seen them since they took Bond out to the desert.
Yeah.
But I do like that they pop back up, just like a Red Grant kind of character where they, they're on the and really at this point we presume that Blofeld's dead because he was in the sub that was getting bashed around on the oil rig, which most of it was pretty much everything was exploding. So
I think that's why I don't understand why they're still doing it.
Yeah, so apparently they're just out for their own sense of revenge. Like maybe they were, closer with Blofeld than we realized. Like maybe it wasn't just a assassins for hire situation, but maybe they were friends or whatever. So they have some sense of loyalty apparently to Blofeld, or enough to try and take out Bond one last time.
Yeah, I'm glad they got cool deaths though.
Yeah, they're really cool deaths. You got Mr. Kidd, who just bursts up in flames, which that's kind of like, weird because it's like, why would he grab these, flaming skewers and come at Bond? But just him like being lit up like a torch was pretty, intense.
Yeah, I thought that would have stopped his partner, like, seeing his assumed boyfriend caught up in flames.
Yeah, there probably wasn't enough.
But I guess they're assassins, so he knows he's got to get the job done. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of there's not enough of a reaction from Mr. Wind once Mr. Kidd is on fire. Like, you would think that there would be more of a sense of, like, revenge.
Or at least, like, a verbal, like, no.
Yeah.
And then, like, reinvigorate him to kill Bond.
Right. But I like how he takes out Mr. Wint with the, flips him over and then, like, grabs his, I don't even know how it works, but he grabs some part of his clothes and, like,
ties them together and
basically does a front wedgie. Ties the bomb onto him and then flips him over the deck. Like,
I didn't quite get how that all worked, but
and that was where we get the callback to the cologne. You know, from when he smelled it in the car. That's what tips him off that these guys are assassins. Yeah. So
which was nice, but I mean that's I guess why they made the broken bottle so prevalent in the shot.
Yes, entirely. That was foreshadowing.
But I didn't get it because I was like I didn't know what it was at first.
Of course,
I thought it was like a broken bottle and he was going to use it to untie himself.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they showed it enough times, when Mr. Kidd and Mr. went to see the old lady, like he was spritzing himself with it. I think when they were on the plane, he was, so it's one of those things like you're supposed to notice it, because it's so blatant or whatever, but I guess it is easy to miss.
I just thought it was going to be something to help him.
Sure.
Because they were throwing it into the trunk.
Cut it loose, yeah. That would have made sense.
But then I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. It was an after the fact that I got it.
Yeah. So that's basically the end of the movie. I mean, Bond and Tiffany are on a cruise ship that's headed back to Britain, which So technically this movie ends on a boat.
Yeah, but they're not even doing it.
No, I guess they probably will, because they've got, I guess, nothing but time between. Where would they have been leaving from? They were in Baja, so they're probably in California, unless they flew back to New York and got on a boat in New York, which would have made sense to cross the Atlantic to get back to Britain.
Yeah, now that because Willard is the one that sees them off.
Yeah.
So they got to still be
probably in California. I don't know.
West Coast somewhere.
Yeah, who knows?
I doubt they all took a road trip to.
Let's all go to New York and.
But she, what's her face? Blanking on her name now.
Tiffany.
Yeah, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Her name comes from where she was born on the.
Oh yeah.
Second floor of Tiffany's, like the jewelry maker.
Yes. Her mother was in the Tiffany's store, I think in New York, right? Actually gave birth to her in a Tiffany's, so.
And I wondered if the case part was like, casing a joint.
Oh, maybe.
Or something like that. I thought it was going to play in to like, or.
Yeah, I mean, it's not obvious,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's an obvious, like, her name is, a case of diamonds, or, you could make you could stretch it to being casing a joint kind of thing, yeah.
But she does make one last line where you think asked Bond to marry her or something.
Yeah, that's what he's kind of thinking, but then she says that...
How are we going to get those diamonds back?
And that's a good point. You got a satellite that wasn't destroyed, so there's still a death ray up in space with a bunch of diamonds, so...
Her motives are true.
Yes. Yeah.
All about the bling.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the end of the movie, and... Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, overall, not that... I don't know. It wasn't very satisfying.
Not really. I remember liking this movie, like years ago when I did my first, like, going through the Bond franchise from start to end. Like, this was always one that was okay. I enjoyed it, but now having watched it, like, fresh off of, On Her Majesty's, like, it is unsatisfying because it's almost...
lesser.
It is lesser. They've ramped up the campiness in this movie, and it's almost like, having seen all the Roger Moore movies, this feels like a Roger Moore Bond movie with Sean Connery, which is really strange since you've just come off of a George Lazenby as Bond movie. So it's a weird, murky, like, middle ground of Bond playing, or Connery playing Bond in a different way than he did before, so it's...
Well, that, and it starts off so dark.
Yeah,
and then it gets, goofy.
Very, very lighthearted almost towards the end, so...
I felt like Connery definitely mailed it in.
Yes,
Which is odd, because, like, I know he got paid a truckload of money.
Yeah, $1.25 million, which, at the time, I guess was a record for a single actor's, single actor on a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
that affects the budget for special effects, I read.
Yeah, the special effects took a hit because of his salary, so... Which, to me, it's like, it's okay. I understand that they had less money for special effects, but honestly, I can't think of a special effect scene that seemed cheap to me. Like,
well, they just didn't have as many...
Yeah, I guess they just didn't have them, yeah.
They spent wisely.
Yeah.
You want to get into trivia or...
Yeah, I think I got a little bit of trivia left that we didn't talk about. I think most of it we talked about during the review, but they did find the moon buggy was it was rotting in a farmer's field in Kent, which I think is in England.
Oh, no kidding.
Because this probably that would be weird. Why would it be in England? I don't know. But it was found in the 90s. It was just kind of rotting, but eventually they restored it and sold it. Club. What's that? Yeah.
Fan club.
Yeah, they sold it at auction for like $44,000. So it's kind of nice that a little piece of the movie, like, because it's an iconic little piece of little vehicle. So
yeah, I read a story about the Mr. Wint character.
Yeah.
And how, I guess, the actors sort of tricked Connery into thinking that they were actually gay in real life.
Yeah, I read that too.
And at some point later down the road, the actor that plays Wint is hitting on a stewardess on an airplane.
Yeah.
He just hears a British or a Scottish voice go, "You son of a bitch."
Right.
And it's Sean Connery.
Yeah, finally realizing that he wasn't actually gay, yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Did you know who played Mr. Wint?
Oh, I remember reading. I can't think of it now.
It's Bruce Glover, who is Crispin Glover's dad.
That's right. Yeah.
The dad of George McFly. Yeah. So after knowing that, it's like okay, I get. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, as soon as you know it, it's like oh yeah, I see it. But it's like you kind of see where Crispin Glover gets some of his like creepiness, from. It's like it's in the genes, they're definitely.
They just got a creepy vibe to them.
Yes, yeah.
Which is evident in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great.
One-armed version of himself.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then...
So, did you hear about the, after all the trivia and stuff that I read, like, I feel really bad for Lana Wood, the, actress playing Plenty O'Toole.
Oh.
Apparently, according to her biography, or autobiography, she says she was a victim of a prank when she first met Sean Connery. Someone on set told her to meet Sean at his Las Vegas hotel room. When she went in to meet him, he came out completely nude.
Yeah.
Because he said, yeah, come on in and sit down and I'll be out there in a minute. Walks out completely naked, which is like, I hope isn't true because it's like, I hope that Connery would at least be decent enough not to, flash his wang all around.
Oh, that was his go-to move in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. And then later on, when they threw her from the hotel, from the the room down into the pool, they really had to do that scene with her, and she had to do it basically in the nude, like she just had on bottoms, and they told her, well, we're going to do it at night, so no one's going to see you and all that, but this is Vegas. Everyone's awake, and when everyone finds out that they're shooting a scene in the pool, which would have been closed off, everyone was staring out the windows. So it's like she had to deal with this, bunch of like onlookers, as she's getting out of this cold pool, So it's like, I don't know, just kind of. I wonder if she was just kind of mistreated that way a little bit. So
yeah, not surprising though.
Yeah. So that's. Let's see. The only other thing I have as far as like trivia would be the original script had Draco from the previous movie. Tracy's dad was supposed to be in this movie because at the time it was supposed to be more of a revenge movie.
Okay.
Even Irma Bunt was going to be in it, but the actress died
okay.
right around the time of the premiere of On Her Majesty's. So she was, they had to write out that idea completely. And then this is kind of around the time that before they cast Connery, they played around with casting all kinds of other actors because obviously George Lazenby was not asked to come back, or he was, but he refused, that kind of thing. And this is when they played around with the idea of Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Adam West, which I think we talked about in the Batman movie, that he actually got pretty close to getting the role, but kind of took himself out when he just kind of felt like Bond should be played by a British person. And then Michael Gambon, who, obviously went on to play Dumbledore much later, but...
I like his quote.
Oh, do you have it? Yeah.
I don't have the exact quote, so if you have...
Oh, I don't either, but it's...
He was like out of shape, and he had something about he had large tits or something.
I read it as he had the tits of a woman.
Yeah.
He was so out of shape, he had tits of a woman, and he just didn't feel like up to playing the role or something.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty great.
Yeah, that would have been. I don't know. Wasn't there like an actor already set up for it?
Oh yeah, like his name was John Gavin, which I know maybe I've seen him in something. I couldn't tell you anything the guy was in.
The director, said he needed to get paid in what he was offered in the contract.
Yeah.
After the fact that he got replaced by Connery.
Right. And I guess Connery was supposed to do a 2-movie deal. Like when they brought him back, it was supposed to be 2 movies. So.
I thought I saw his mug on another Bond movie after this.
Well, he does do Never Say Never Again, which is it's not produced by Eon Productions, so it's not technically part of this Bond film canon.
Oh, that's what it is.
And that was the one that... So you had Kevin McClory, who was part of the writing debacle in Thunderball.
Mm-hmm.
And when he won the film rights to Thunderball, it gave him the rights or whatever to remake that movie. So in, I think it's 84 or 85, when they made Never Say Never Again, which is just a remake of Thunderball, that's when they went out to Connery to basically reprise the role, remake the movie, and they had intended to remake their own Bond franchise. So you would have had competing Bond, and that movie went up directly, I think within a few months of Octopussy. So it was like you had 2 Bond movies in the same year, but from different, production companies. So, I've seen Never Say Never Again, and it is just a remake of Thunderball, and it's a lesser version of Thunderball. And
Connery's got in his 50s, almost 60.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see, it would have been another, it was 80, like I said, 84 or 85, so it would have been another, maybe it was 83, but sometime in the 80s, so, another 10 years after this movie,
Yeah.
So it's, did we need it? Probably not.
I like the Bond movie with Connery where he's with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or whatchamacallit, what is it called? League of Extraordinary.
Oh yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah.
That Bond movie.
Yeah, that is kind of a.
Made me think of a Bond movie.
Kind of, yeah.
They're sort of bringing him back into the. That's sort of what his character is in that movie.
Yeah,
The
I guess.
Legend in Britain.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about the character. He actually was playing the Alan Quatermain.
Yeah.
I know that there are Alan Quatermain, novels, or he's a character like that, like a Sherlock Holmes or whatever. But yeah, I don't know enough about the character. But yeah, you're kind of right. It is kind of a, well, because you were an iconic, character from, started out in, books. That's an interesting way to think about that movie and that role. So that's.
It's kind of like a retired Bond.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's showing the new guy the ropes.
Yeah. Huh.
And he is kind of flirty with the vampire lady.
Totally, yeah. Well, and that movie's on our list, so we'll get there eventually. So that'll be interesting to kind of take that perspective,
Yeah, that's what it sort of felt like with when you said Never Say Never was that far after the fact.
Yeah. And that might have been, is that his last movie?
I hope
because
not.
he retired from acting pretty shortly after.
Pretty soon.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, just tangent.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you want to get into a couple pros and a couple cons?
Definitely.
Okay. Let's see. A pro, I'm going to say I kind of was digging the dark Bond at the beginning.
Okay.
I was like, all right, new take.
Yeah.
And then it sort of leads into a con where the movie couldn't make up what kind of Bond he was.
Sure.
Is he going to be lighthearted? Is he going to be floozy Bond? Dark Bond?
Right.
So it sort of ties into each other, but I was kind of digging the beginning with the evil,
Right on.
Take no prisoners Bond.
No, I was into it.
Oh, it was just a change of pace for me.
Sure, yeah. My first pro is just the characters of Mr. Kidd and Mr. Went. As henchmen go, they're nothing like we've ever seen before, and if I'm thinking about it, I can't recall them ever being, I don't think there's anyone like them again, So just they are not the best actors, at least, in some of the scenes, but...
I'd say Kid is the worst.
I think it works because I think they're meant to be socially awkward, so their acting adds to that, I think. So I like their characters in the movie.
Okay. I guess mine would be that, the ladies of Bond have taken a step up, and Bond actually gets his butt whooped by some ladies.
Sure. Yeah, stronger women in this movie than we've kind of... And even Plenty O'Toole, like, she was just there as a floozy, basically, but, that's what she wanted to be doing. Like, she was in the casinos, like, when one guy lost all his money, she latched on to Bond and was like, well, I'm gonna, you look like a, I don't know.
A well-off gentleman.
Yeah, so it's like she's just taking the opportunity to, go wherever the money is, and that's, as long as, like, that was her...
Yeah, and there's real people like that.
Sure.
It was just weird that, like, he gave her that money and you think she'd just, take it and go, but then she wanted to sleep with him. And
yeah.
That's kind of weird, but...
Yeah. I like the Bond women that don't have to be tricked into, sleeping with him and everything. And that's kind of like... It seems like they've gone that direction a little bit, the last couple, but... So...
Yeah.
My second pro is, another character, Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John. She's, I like that she's on the wrong side throughout pretty much the entire movie, but she's not evil. She's an opportunist at heart. She goes along with the flow, like, when she thinks she's with Franks, it's just to get to the diamonds. Or when she's with Blofeld at the end, it's just because, it's a better situation that Reno, because essentially her main concern, once she realizes what's going on, is that she wants to avoid jail time. And her big concern is, what is Felix gonna, wipe away her record kind of thing, if she sticks around, or, so she just kind of goes where, I don't know, goes with the flow, I guess, is what I've already said, but I like that about her, and she kind of reminds me of the way Catwoman is to Batman. She's essentially she's a thief. She's she's on the wrong side, like I said, but she's not evil. She's not out for world domination, and she doesn't like go along with Blofeld, but she doesn't panic like a damsel in distress when she's taken. Really, And just the actress, I like her performance throughout the movie, especially when they're at the gas station, and she's just causing this distraction kind of thing, and giving the gas station attendant all kinds of grief.
Yeah,
it's
a character within a character.
Right, I like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We've sort of talked about cons, and it was just an overall less action, less satisfying sort of conclusion with Blofeld. I mean, it was but it was weird that he sort of died as a wrecking ball. Or I believe he died.
Yeah, Blofeld is definitely one of my cons, and just the inconsistency, like I said, of the character was just quite disappointing.
Well, that was just, I don't know, it sort of bleeds into my second one. It's just the whole overcomplicated ruse of moving things around and multiple Blofelds, and I mean, I don't know, it was just overcomplicated and unnecessary.
Like I said, the whole thing is a big shell game. I mean, from Blofeld to the diamonds to Bond himself, to Willard White, to like everything is just sleight of hand. And maybe that's a Vegas, like a tie into the Vegas, casino aspect of it. Like everything is I don't know. It
was a very sporadic movie.
Yeah. Let's see. My big con is kind of along with that. It's a substandard story. The villain that we've seen before is just mishandled. The threat it's a good threat, but it takes so long to get there. The resolution, the battle at the end just kind of happens, and there's no big, I guess the day is saved, but there's no big climax to it really, and everything just felt reused from previous movies.
Yeah.
Just like they took the market crash aspect of Goldfinger with the diamonds or with the gold. They used that. They used the helicopter attack on the base from On Her Majesty's. Like it just felt like everything was, it just lacked originality, I guess.
So. Didn't think about it that way, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a best of compilation.
Yeah. And maybe it's fitting with being Connery's last movie, but I don't know.
Well, it was a tribute of a lesser extent because it wasn't as good as the.
Right.
It's kind of.
It's kind of the diminishing returns, it just can't be as good as the previous, and it's kind of unfortunate that, as good as Connery was as Bond in From Russia with Love and Goldfinger and to some degree Dr. No, like it really has gone down in quality, so
I think that'll be reflected in our ratings.
Yeah, probably.
Do you want to jump into that?
I think so. I don't really have a big overall lead up to my rating just because I think we've already but.
Yeah, I'll lead us off with.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a solid 2.
Okay. Yeah, I was.
Probably.
What's that?
I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, that's fair. After watching it a couple times, I'm good on this one too. Maybe years from now, if I'm ever doing a Bond marathon again, and I'll just watch it because it's next in the list, but. Yeah. No, I'll probably never seek this one out and say, I just really want to watch Diamonds because, yeah. So I'm, what'd you say, a 2?
Yeah.
I kind of had a 3 in my head, but I just think I'd probably go 2.5.
Okay.
So what's that give us, a 2.25?
Yeah.
So.
All right, so not all that great.
Yeah, it's, just it's a substandard Bond movie. It's not the worst. I think we probably like it better than, I don't know. This might be our worst for Bond, anyways.
I think it is.
Huh.
Probably.
I mean, I would hope that we rated Thunderball a little bit less because I think I'd probably like this a little bit better than Thunderball, but I don't know.
Thunderball 3.25.
Really? Wow. I think it must be the Bond fatigue is probably a part of it. Like, maybe, we're at the end of the Connery era, and it's like,
it's a good one, and now not so good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I think that's sort of part of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to adjust my rating to suit that because if it's a genuine reaction to what we felt is. So,
yeah,
but it's
ratings relative anyway. It's dependent on what mood you're in, and
of course, yeah.
So it's going to be fluctuating. We're not robots.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. So our next on the docket, it looks like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, I think we need to probably talk about that. Are we gonna try and seek this movie out? Because I don't know where to find it.
That's gonna be tough.
And I don't know how available this or the sequel to that, the Vault of Horror, are to find. Yeah. So I'd be fine with skipping Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror.
Okay.
So that would just take us right into Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
We're going to change the name of this podcast to just Bond Ape.
Yeah, we got to come up with a clever mashup of Planet of the Bond Apes.
We're going to go Ape, then another Bond.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman.
But again, that's a TV movie that I don't know how we're going to find.
And then we're back to Bond, but then we jump into Star Wars.
Right. So, I mean, I think we can, power through it and just, hit the last two Apes movies, and then, what do we got? 2 Bond movies with a new Bond, which I remember liking both of these. They're not fantastic movies, but they are decent Bond movies, and and then we'll get some Star Wars. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Oh, those things are going to be like 5 out of 5, just because it's not.
Yeah, Bond. We can go ahead and rate that one.
Okay. So, I guess the next one we'll be doing is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, which should still be on HBO.
Cool.
So
get to it while you can.
Right. While supplies last.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this one.
Yeah, I think we said all we came to say.
And then some.
Yeah. But hey, we didn't get off on too many tangents that were unrelated to Bond. Yeah. So.
All righty. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
You want to go into the spiel on where we can be found?
Oh, of course. Twitter and Facebook, just search Real Comic Heroes. Email us. Let us know what you think of your thoughts. Maybe your thoughts on Connery as Bond and like what you liked from his role in the franchise, and that'd be nice to maybe get some feedback like that. But you can email us at realcomicheroes@gmail.com. So until next time,
we out.
Yeah, we need a good outro, don't we?
Yep, we do.
We're kind of, but we'll figure that out.
All right.
Peace.
Now, the biggest, the newest, the most exciting of all the Planet of the Apes pictures. Climaxed by the spectacular revolt of the apes. The most awesome, the most horrifying spectacle in the annals of science fiction. First pampered as pets, then abused as servants, now oppressed as slaves.
Mobilization of all security forces, police, militia, and reserve defense units. See that every entrance into the city is cordoned off immediately.
Yes, sir. Our control methods to include the use of tear gas and sedation darts.
There will be but one control method. Shoot to kill.
Ready? Aim. Fire!
This will be the end of human civilization. And the world will belong to a planet of apes!
Watch the screen explode as man faces ape in the ultimate revolution.
Where there is fire, there is smoke. And in that smoke, from this day forward, my people will plot and plan for the inevitable day of man's downfall. And that day is upon you now!